Roadster Rumble night tonight, round number 5 of their MX5 Championship. Thanks to Simworx Race Simulators. We are at Circuit de Barcelona tonight, Catalunya, one of my favourite racetracks for the F1 cars, and also a great sports car track as well. But tonight, the little MX5s will be doing a battle. Once again, 3 classes, Class A, Class B and Class C, all taking to the track at the same time. Let's head down and just pick up the final parts of qualifying now. As the driver's out on the racetrack, it is Jack Boyd who has put it so far on provisional pole position. Brenton Hobson is just rounding out his final lap, 1/10 off the top time, just over 2 minutes to do a lap around this Barcelona circuit. Glenn Boyd, who has been doing great in this championship, down in 14th place. Nick Wood, 11th for him as he's out on the racetrack in the Phoenix Smokers racing machine. Look at the drifting tonight. We'll see a lot of that. You can see the banners beside each name. The blue is the Class A drivers, and of course they are in different makes of MX5s just to make it a little bit more, well, even for the classes, and also differentiate between them, give them a bit of a gap in the timing. So the Global Cup car for the Group A. We go down to Willits at the moment, who is leading the Group B listing of drivers with the Legacy 2010 Cup car, and Group C, the Legacy Roadster. At the moment, Andrew Pears, upside down. Not the best place to be for Andrew. Let's go to Andrew Roberts. He's the right way up in the KP Tech 31 number Frog Elite racing car. So we've got about 2 minutes to go here. They get the 2 laps to qualify. At the moment, like I said, Jack Boyd on top, Brenton Hobson just finishing out a lap. Let's see what he can do as he comes through the final part. Now they are using the MotoGP style of the track here. So it's got a nice quick finish, and he goes into the pits, so practicing his pit entry there. And did that at a great rate of knots. Nick Wood will cross the line, P9. Can he go any higher? He's 6/10 off the pace and crosses to stay P9, so doesn't improve. In fact, that was his best lap time, matched it. So 6/10 off the pace for Wood. Dyson, Andrew White Dyson 10th. As I just watched down low, we've got Keith Logan joining us for the first time. Logan Racing. I know Keith has been a great follower of the channel. He's so supportive, and it's great to see him out there racing tonight. And let's see what he can do. He's in the top class, so Class A for Keith, qualified 19th outright at this stage with about a minute to go. So we just wait now for the final couple of minutes to unfold, and then we'll get straight into the racing tonight. This should be exciting. The race format tonight, let's just run through that quickly because it's well, back to the regular season now. As hello Graham, and thank you for the stars, my friend. Let's go through the quick notes for tonight's race. 10-minute solo qualifying, 2 laps only allowed. The races, race 1 and 2 are 7-lap sprint races, and then we're followed by race 3, the big one, 14 laps. 1 pit stop for fuel in race 3, sorry. So no pit stops in the first 2, they're just sprint races. And the pit window opens at the end of lap 2 and closes at the end of lap 12. So it's great to see Keith Logan on the grid tonight. Like I said, he's been a big supporter of what we do here at Racestars TV, and here he is tonight making his debut in the Roadster Rumble. And alright, let's get set to go racing. Clear sky, so it's good temperature out there as well. The weather looking great for racing. 21 degrees ambient, 23 degrees track, a little bit cloudy, in fact it says there, partly cloudy, but I reckon that's going to clear up some fantastic racing. Let's go down to the grid. Smurf Larry's in the house. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Let's have a look at the grid now for race number 1, the first sprint race. Jack Boyd starts from pole position with Brenton Hobbo 88 next to him on the front row. Then it's Coleman and Turner on the second row of the grid. Drivers starting to grid up now. It was Schreier and Stassi will start on the third row with Norman, Losh, Wood and Andrew Dyson. Rounding out your top 10 tonight. It's Moroz and Seeger down there in 12th place. 13th on the grid, Adam Sharp with Glenn Boyd. Then you've got Simon Joel Smith down there. As Keith chucks in some stars. Good luck, Keith, tonight. Then you've got Sam Lehman, 16th. Jamie Willis, the top of our Group B drivers, starts from 17th outright ahead of Steve McMahon. Nick Warness will start 19th with Keith Logan rounding out your top 20. Kyle Ridley, 21st on the grid. 22nd will be Henry Fenson. Then it's Jessica White Carriage down there in 23rd place. Andrew Dutch will start alongside in 24th. 25th on the grid, it's John Thorne. Big grid tonight, by the way. Google down there in 26th with Foster and Connors in 28th. And it's Canto and Greg Holmes running out your top 30. Graham Ellis will start from 31st tonight. And then Andrew Pears, the top of our Class C drivers, starts down there in 32nd position. Philip Parasito behind him in 33rd with Matt Van Egman down in 34th place. Jeremy Pickens and Darren Linus round out your top 36th. Right to the back of the order now, 37th. goes to Dylan Gray with Bard Rodkin, 38th. St John down there in 39th with Michael Nankara. Rating out your top 40 drivers there already. 41st, Andrew Roberts, with then Aaron Oliver, Luke Clavel down there in 43rd. Ray Harrison rounds out your 44. Jonathan Hancock tonight is in race control, looking over things, which is fantastic. And Jamie Walker rounds out the 46th car on the grid for the start of this race tonight. They will roll away shortly on a parade lap, and we'll have a quick look at the squiz here. Where are we going to start? By the looks of it, it's just around the back end of the circuit. There we go. So they'll roll through the last part of the circuit, and then we'll get racing. So it should be a nice little getaway. And well, let's see who's going to win this first one. Jack Boyd has been super consistent, super fast throughout this series. I'm expecting him once again tonight to, well, do what he always does, try and streak away. So little Mazda MX-5s, all the three classes, roll away and get set for action. Jack Boyd, our pole sitter, will focus on him. Will Brenton Hobson try and push for an overtake on the opening lap? Remember, 7-lap heat races tonight for the first two, and then a 14-lap feature. So 3-race format here again for round number 5 of the Roadster Rumble. Let's get set to go racing. I love this that they're using the fast MotoGP, the old style. Couple of corners to run you into the front straight away, flat out through there. And you're going to see a lot of drifting action, I reckon, from these MX-5s. The back ends of the car tend to dance around a little bit. Right, here they go, onto the pit straight. Hold on to your hats here. Who's going to make it out on top after lap 1? They get set for a start. They're holding. And we get the green, we get racing. Look at, I think it's Nick Wood already making up a position. Ashley Norman got a good jump too as they head down the straightaway towards turn 1. They're bunched together here. Look at the speed they're carrying already. 3 or 4 wide in the background. Oh dearie me. You got to hold your breath at this stage. 3 wide. It's Owen Coleman getting involved as well. Jack Boyd leads. Hobson's on the inside now through turn 2. Up the hill for the first time. Hobson really trying hard to get in front, but Jack Boyd's held on. Coleman's held 3rd. The top 3 have held position. Schreier's up 1 position in 4th place. Look at the top 3 as they come up now towards the highest part of this circuit. Then we start to drop down the hill. Marty Turner lost a position. Ashley Norman's up a position at the moment. Oh, we got a spinner at the front, have we? We do. Someone backwards there. It's Owen Coleman, who did so well off the start. He's now facing the wrong way and sadly will run to the back of the order. Boyd still leads Hobson, then it's Turner, Schreier, Norman, and a big grouping of cars behind Adam Sharp, who's been quick as well since joining this series. Runs in 6th place, up 7 positions already for this man in the middle of your screen. So great getaway, the SRT Sharp Racing Team. Wow, doing well as they roll up the hill now. Let's go to the long camera and get a shot of this one. Check it out, Jack Boyd leads us again onto this little back straight, the DRS zone for the Formula 1 cars. No DRS in the MX-5s, they don't even have a lid. So maybe you can just wind the windows down for a bit of extra DRS, I don't know. Jack Boyd under attack, Hobbo having a look. And so far so good, Boyd's hanging on for Boyd Racing in P1. Looking back to the other Boyd, Glenn Boyd, 1 position up into 13th at this stage early on in the race. It's a 7-lap sprint, it's going to go pretty quick, about 14 minutes per race tonight, but this is a good getaway. The top 2 though look like they're already in a class of their own, 1.6 seconds clear of Marty Turner. And on debut, how is our mate Keith Logan going? I'm just trying to find him on the scoring. Where is Keith? He's up 2 spots into 18th, having a nice little run. So they go at 2:04, the opening lap time there for Boyd as he crosses the line. There's Logan starting to chase down McMahon, and another legend that supports us heaps here at the channel. So I just see a couple of cars dropping down the order. If we had a stack here, we have in the fence, Connors. Oh, big crash behind. Wow-wee. I think Nankara was one of those, was he? He's got damage. That's Coleman again. The other one was, I think, Ray Harris is upside down. Andrew Pears as well, upside down. And, huge crash. We might have to have a quick look at that one on a replay. I think Andrew Pears might have been the first to have a little bit of an issue there. Check this out, slow-mo. Get to see some cars get airborne here. The MX-5's down the back of the order, getting a little bit nasty. And crunch, bingle, ding, upside down. Andrew Pears goes for the wild ride down the straightaway. Check that out, getting lots of air. The other little Mazda getting underneath him there, sends him through the sky. And a huge crash down the back, sadly, to ruin probably about 6 or 7 cars in that. That's a big write-off for many of our competitors down the back end of this field. And Coleman, who was involved in that, it's all gone from bad to worse for him at the start of this race after spinning and doing such a good job on the first couple of corners, then facing backwards. Back live now and back with your top 2. Look how many cars are in the pit lane. In fact, let's turn that pit graphic off tonight because there's going to be a lot of retirements in this sprint race format. On board with Hobson, who leads now from Jack Boyd. Meat bags in the house. He says, wowee, was a big crash. And like I was about to find out, Keith Logan's up into 18th. How is Graham Ellis going? I'm just having a quick look for Graham in what is a massive field of cars tonight. There's 40 plus drivers out there on the racetrack. Ellis has dropped 1 spot into 32nd. There he is. The Methanol Moonshine No Stress Racing entry. Currently chasing after Matt Van Egman in 31st place. So a good little grouping of cars here. Let's have a quick look at the class winners at the moment, or the class leaders, as we go back to the front with Hobson and Boyd. It's at the moment Hobson leading Class A, Willits leading Class B, and Picken, who is in top in Class C. Helping a little there was Jack Boyd pushing Brenton Hobson. You see a fair bit of that drafting throughout this series. These drivers love it. They love the racing, don't they? Let's head back to the battle for Aaron Oliver and Fenson going side by side. And Fenson tucks back in behind now. He's also got Kyle Ridley right behind him. Nice little battle pack for 19th position. Keith Logan's just in front of them. But Aaron Oliver desperately here trying to get away from Fenson Ridley. And also Andrew Dutch has just now tacked himself onto the back of this in the 51 car. So you're going to start to see him try and push forward and maybe get a couple of spaces here. Behind them, you've got Google, Foster, White Carriage, and Greg Holmes tonight, who puts this series together, running the big Race Stars banner on the side. Thanks, Greg. Does a great job. He's an absolute legend, and he's running there in the group, or the Class B car, and currently up 5 spots into 25th. So good job. They're very quiet, aren't they, the Class B cars? When you then go across to the top Class A cars, they've got a bit more buzz to them. So Hobbo at the moment, 0.5 of a second the lead, just starting to pull away slightly from Jack Boyd. Marty Turner's just re-engaged as well. In fact, the top 5 have got much closer on this lap. This is the battle between Turner, Norman, and Adam Sharp. Down the inside, Ashley Norman goes through, so does Sharp. Sorry, it wasn't Turner, was it? We're looking back now at Adam Sharp, who's battling with Nick Wood. So we've got a couple of lap cars, I think, amongst the leaders. That's what was just tricking me up there for a second. This is a good battle, though. Check out Wood sliding his way through the final couple of corners underneath our drone camera. Onto the pit straight now he goes, and trying to carry as much momentum as he can now down the straightaway. And tucked in behind, Andrew Dyson is starting to really close in and looking to overtake, probably into turn 1 as they go out of sight behind the barrier. Here he goes, the run down towards turn 1, on board with Andrew Dyson. He'll break as late as he can here. He gets 1. Thank you very much, he says. And he gets on the grass. There's a bit of contact there as well. There's going to be a carnage down there, and unfortunately a couple of cars have gone in the fence. And wow, Jonathan Hancock in race control is going to have a look at that one and see who will get the blame. There's Adam Sharp. He's also got broken steering by the looks of things. He'll try and recover that out of the grass and the gravel. There is Nick Wood also trying to get back onto the racetrack. So big crash for him. And unfortunately, more drivers out of it. You can just see the remnants of the crash there down the bottom. It was a big crunch, 4 cars getting together. And sadly, a lot of them will take no further part in race 1 here tonight. Here's Keith Logan up 5 spots now into the top 15. Challenging Warner's just in front. Nick's up 5 as well. So plenty of gains as we've got a big smoke cloud there. Who's that for? There's another spinner there. That was Simon Joel Smith, who's just gone around the Motorsport Haulers racing entry. He's facing the wrong way as well. So wowee. Let's go back to the top because I don't think it's over between these two. They're on lap 4 of 7 already. Let's jump on board and enjoy a little bit of a ride here with Jack Boyd around the last part of this lap with Visor Cam. Here we go. So on board with Jack Boyd, the Boyd racing entrant. Just watch the way he tries to keep this as smooth as possible. He'll tuck up behind Brenton Hobson onto the pit straight now. In fact, the second to last corner here is the last corner now onto the pit straight. So he tucks it in. You can just hear the tyres screeching as it's right on the limit. and wide for Hobson. So Hobson gets a terrible exit off the corner with that oversteer, and this will cost him straight line speed. Boyd's going to still engage for a push here. So he's more worried about getting away from Marty Turner and pushing the gap than overtaking and leading the race at the moment. He wants to sit in second place, and that's that's a telling tale, isn't it? Where you want to be probably until the final lap of the race. That's when Jack Boyd will want to lead. Maybe the second half of the final lap will be the turning point of the race for Jack here tonight. But gee whiz, he's driven well so far. So's Hobson. Both those drivers trading position, and Marty Turner, who's just behind them, engaged in a battle here with Ashley Norman. I think these two are probably doing a similar little trick, trying to push each other along. They are teammates, the Chicken Up Racing team. So they're trying to push each other along and then close the margin to the leaders. There's Wayne Losh as well, currently 5th place. Let's just jump on board and have a look here. We'll jump down to the nose camera with Ashley Norman and see if there's a bit of pushing going on here as well to try and just bump yourselves along. Smurf Larry says, how intense was the ASCC last night? Oh boy, I haven't actually checked today to see who the official P2 was in that race, but big finish. If you didn't get to see that one, go and watch the last couple of laps cross the line for a big moment. And yeah, I won't spoil it, go watch it, it was incredible. But well, I'm sure some post-race penalties may have been handed out on that one. Hobson leads now 0.3 of a second. Now what's he got up his sleeve here? The lap time's really similar as Boyd just bowls over one of the witches' hats. These 4 drivers have really scooted away. Let's have a quick check-in with Jamie Willits, running 10th at the moment. He's the top Class B driver. And he's just ahead of Glenn Boyd. There he is. And Jeremy Pickens continues to do a great job for PBR Racing. Sits in 25th place, so up 10 spots for the Class C competitor. And I love when I see them start to mix it with some of the Class B drivers, and same with the Class B drivers, mixing it with the Class A drivers, as Jamie Willits on your screen is now. He's got 4 or so class, in fact 5, 6, 7, 8 if you include the crash cars. 10, 11, 12, in fact 12 if you include the crash cars. He's ahead of 12 Class A drivers, this man. So, fantastic effort. Logan's up 8 spots now as he challenges. This is Nick Warnes beside him into the braking zone for turn 1, and down the inside, Keith having a little bit of a look there, decided better off. Let's jump on board with Keith Logan Racing as he heads up the hill. A little bit of a backstory with Keith Logan. He's an absolute legend. He follows my channel. He's there almost every night to at least show some support and say good day. 36 weeks in a row. He's also donated some stars, which you don't have to do. It's just super generosity of this man. But I love seeing this. I love seeing him out there racing, having a go. I've always encouraged people that view the channel, if you can get out there and join one of these series, you're going to have a heck of a lot of fun, and they are fantastic at looking after people that come in and want to have a race, and it's such a good social thing as well. As we watch Hobbo here still, the top 4. There is your top 4. You can see 2 micro battles going on, the one between Hobson and Boyd, and then Turner and Norman are just tucked in behind. So the final position on the podium is going to go to one of these 2 teammates. Now that's interesting, as Hancock there is just contacting the drivers, I presume, to issue a penalty or 2. As Turner goes through now, Norman with not a bad run onto the back of his teammate. Here we go, onto the pit straight to start the final lap of this first sprint race. And how even if the lap time has been lap 4 there, 5 milliseconds between them. The white flag drops 1 to go. That lap there, 28 thousandths of a second between them, so nothing at all. Hobson leads us, and here we go. This is what I was talking about, last lap of the race. No more pushing, no more trying to bump draft. Jack Boyd wants to lead, and he wants to bring this home. He gets in front of Hobson now. Will Hobson also now just stick into P2 and stay there until maybe the back straightaway? You got to think as they go past some lap traffic that if you can stay close to the bumper bar of the car in front, coming onto even the pit straight, you might be able to still squeeze past for a win. It's quite a run to the checker flag, and now Hobson on the outside will try and switch back possibly. This is good racing. Let's jump on board with him. Synergy Sim Racing driver, comes from a stable of many fast sim races. This guy Hobbo, he's a legend when it when you look at the top guys that have supported iRacing and just sim racing in general. Hobo88 is right up there. I used to watch a lot of his streams on different platforms, and always entertaining, and be streaming right now. If you're interested in having a look, go and search him up, Hobo88. And this is going to go down to the wire between these two through this final corner now onto the back straightaway. This will be a chance to maybe make a move here for Hobo, and if he can get into the lead, he might just be able to hold it out. There's going to be lap traffic up the road as well, so this could play a big role. Oh, Hobo out of shape, tags the back of Boyd, and Boyd's gone around. Now he's going to have to redress that. That lets Turner get through. The teammates are going to go through to a 1-2. Can you believe it? So Turner and Norman now fight over the lead of this race. And I can't believe that Hobo, I think, just snatched a break up on the ripple strip. And that sent him into the back of Boyd. He had to redress the position. And Norman and Turner go through the final couple of corners. And down to the wire it goes. It's going to be between one of these two Chicken Up Racing drivers, and the big slide from Turner onto the pit straight means that Ashley Norman is going to take the win. Hobo apologises on the in-car communication to Jack Boyd, who gets P3. Hobson 4th. Can you believe? Then it's Losh, Stassi, Moroz, Seeger. Willits is your race winner for the Group B drivers. Great drive by him as Keith Logan comes through the final corner now. He's going to get 6 positions up into 14th. So great drive. Nick Warnes will get P2 in Class C as well. So fantastic job. We look back to the battle then. Jeremy Pickens, who has he gone into the pits? I've just lost him off our screen. Where's Jeremy Pickens gone? He hasn't finished yet. They're not classified. So this is for the race lead here. And Pickens maybe has disconnected. Or has he crashed out? Find an indication there. I reckon he's had a disconnection. He went off track and he crashed out. So there you go. On the final lap of the race, it's going to be Adam St. John who's going to get through there to take the checker flag. Look in the background. Oh, way out sideways and a crash too. Roberts into the fence. Oh, dearie me. What a way to finish the race. But it is Adam St. John that gets the win for Class C. Fantastic racing. Race number 1, run and done, and wow, I'm spent. We've still got 2 to go. Another 7-lap sprint coming up straight after this. We'll get you the results of that one, and then we'll go down to the grid for race 2. What a great finish. Quick replay of that incident. Just watch this. So Hobson just got a wheel, I think, up on the ripple strip there. Snatched the brakes. Oh, he touched the AstroTurf into the back of Boyd. Boyd went around. Watch the chicken up teammates. See you later, they say. Both of them go sneaking through and up into a 1-2 position for race number 1. They would have said, righto, thank you very much. Let's go to the results from race 1. And hit the right button there, Luke. Here it is. Ashley Norman, your winner. Chicken Up Racing and Chicken Nuggets Racing is Marty Turner, P2. Jack Boyd got 3rd in the end. Brenton Hobson 4th. And it was Losh, Stassi, Moroz, Seeger and Willits. Let's go through the classes quickly. So there is obviously a Class A leaderboard for race number 1. Let's go to Class B. This is how they ended up. Willits, Warnes and Fenson, the top drivers in Class B. And Class C, great little drive there to the end there for Adam St. John, who will lead out Jamie Walker and Michael Nankara, your top 3 in that class as well. Well done. Let's go to the grid for race number 2 now. And with a progressive grid, it will be Ashley Norman that will start from pole position. Marty Turner alongside Jack Boyd out of 3 with Hobson out of 4. Then it's Losh and Stassi on the 3rd row of the grid. Moroz and Seeger around at your top 8. Willits out of position there, but doing a great job tonight. The Class B driver slots into 9th place. Steve McMahon will start from 10th, and it's Glenn Boyd and Schrader around at your top 12. Over the page in 13th, it's Warnes and Logan, then Fenson and Dutch, Ridley, Waikaraji, Holmes and Foster, your top 20. Paradiso down in 21st place with Google, Canto and Gray, your top 24. They roll away for us now. 25th on the grid for race 2. Eggman with Lehman alongside Ellis and St. John. Then it's Walker and Nankara as we get into the Group C drivers. Wood, we got Coleman there as well. Then you got Joel Smith, Thorne, Linus and Picken in 36th place. 37th will be Roberts with Rodkin, and Pearce to round out your top 40. Andrew Dyson. These drivers, these Class A drivers, will have to come from the back of the grid here with Adam Sharp, Aaron Oliver, and you've got Anthony Connors and Claver down there in 45th place. So a long, long run for those drivers to try and get themselves back to the top. Watch for Jack Boyd and Hobson trying to quickly clear this Chicken Up Racing duo and get themselves into a 1-2 position. Again, can Ashley Norman and Marty Turner do something about this at the start? Hold on to your hats, we're about to go racing here for race number 2, the Roadster Rumble, round 5 from Catalunya. And we wait for it. They have split the classes, so we go green. And great getaway for the top driver, Ashley Norman. And they've held the Class B drivers back to give a little bit of separation for the run down to turn 1. You can just see Boyd's already got up into second. Hobson challenging for third. As they go into the braking zone, Hobson's going to go on the outside of Marty Turner. Wheel to wheel through there. Hobson will slot into third. Nice drive. In the background, we've got another, I think, a bit of a dust-up. Owen Coleman is backwards again. 2 races in a row. You can hear him. He's going to watch all the Class B and Class C competitors come flying through here as he just tries to regain track position. But he's lost out 2 races in a row now, Coleman. Ashley Norman leads from Jack Boyd, lap 1 of 7, race 2. How good is this? Hobson also there. He'll be thinking about that mistake he made in race 1. He was getting ready for the big bomb as well to get himself into the lead and possibly take a win. Ended up getting 3rd and 4th for Boyd and Hobson with that mistake. Roz has made a nice little start here too, up 1 position. So Seeger, Willits and Schreier all moving up a position at the start of this second race tonight. But with your race leader, watch him as he enters this back straightaway. Higher speed, carry as much speed as you can through these corners. I love it. I love the 4-wheel drifting. They're quite forgiving, the MX-5s. You can really throw them around. They don't tend to have those clumsy spins that some classes of cars do in iRacing. We're going through the long sweeping MotoGP part of this circuit as well. Such a flowing version of the track. I really wish F1 would go to this layout. I know they could. I don't like the high speed through the final corner though. And I remember it was a couple of years ago, MotoGP even wanted to go back to the chicane rather than have this high speed. In fact, have they gone back to the chicane now? They may have. I may be getting a bit confused here, but I remember the year they changed after that huge accident at the second to last corner. They wanted to just dull the speed a bit through there. It is so quick. Onto the pit straight though. Here we go. Norman under pressure. Here comes Jack Boyd. He's going to try and go for the lead here. He doesn't engage like he did with Hobson. I think he's maybe a little bit more worried about Hobson and he wants to try and get away from him, but Hobson's going with him. And Boyd, Hobson will lead down into turn 1. Ashley hangs on the outside here of Hobbo 88. And they'll go wheel to wheel through 2, up towards 3. Hold on to your hats as they slide their way through. Look at Hobbo moving through now. And then in the background, the Chicken Up Racing of Norman and Turner engaging and pushing hard. Losh is there as well. Let's jump on board with him. You can see the top 5 in front, or the top 4 in front. He's sitting in 5th position. And 1.1 seconds slower on the opening lap to Norman, who lost 3 positions to be now running in 4th. Keith Logan, 17th in this race, as we see a big dive down the inside from Losh, having a look at Turner. Thought better of it in the end and regains composure as, oh wow, Ashley Norman there going for a wild ride off on the grass momentarily. Remember, no pit stops in these first 2 sprint races tonight. Then we go to the 14-lap feature where there will be 1 compulsory stop required. So far so good though. It's just all about knuckling down and trying to race hard. Trying to see if any of the drivers at the very back have started to make their way through. Adam Sharp, I was just about to say Adam Sharp is making great gains and he's in the fence after making 8 positions up at the start of the race. Anthony Connors he's up 13 spots into 31st. So he's got his head down, a lot of work ahead of him, but remember, a progressive grid. Yes, he lost out in race 1, but if he can get himself up maybe into a top 15, to a top 20 start for the feature race, maybe some points still on offer for Anthony Connors in the Extreme Racing MX-5 tonight. Battle at the front, Boyd is just opening a margin now, 0.4 of a second. I want to have a look at this battle between Schreier and Stassi, and Jamie Willits is in there as well. So down the pit straight away, you hear the buzz of these MX-5s echoing off the chamber here of the grandstands as Andrew Dyson up 30 positions into 11. So there's one I missed. So Andrew Dyson has come from the back here. Make that 31. No, that's 30 positions as he gets ahead of Thor on the lap car. Andrew Dyson is on the charge. So himself and Simon Joel Smith, who's a couple of places back. Simon Joel Smith's made up 20 positions, and Nick Wood, who's attached to the back of these drivers, is also made up 17. So between Dyson, Wood and Smith, we're seeing about 67 overtakes at the start of this race in the first 3 laps of race 2. Incredible, but Andrew Dyson, that's impressive. Next driver up the road will be Lucas Stassi. Now if he can get to Lucas in the Simworx racing car, that puts him in a top 10 start for the feature race tonight. And that is a decent recovery after being in the fence and out of race 1. So well done Dyson. There is Lucas Stassi, the Simworx racing entrant. Very colourful livery on that car. It looks great. It's great to have Simworx race simulators as well on board as the sponsor for this Roadster Rumble series. They've been great supporters of what Greg Holmes does and the team to put together this, fun racing category. If you want to get involved, link in the description to join the Facebook group and get in touch, because they had 2 weeks for Easter and Anzac Day where the Monday nights were basically, we'll have the night off or we'll do a fun event. They do a fun event, they organise them, and then Greg says, Luke, can you broadcast them? And of course I can. And how cool is that? So these drivers not only get to race in a cool league, a well-run league with real race control, but Greg then goes out of his way to also get the thing broadcast. So there is Greg, 20th place at the moment, dropped 1 position in this race, but I'm sure he's still having the time of his life out there in the little MX-5, as always, smiling. They're smiley little cars, aren't they? Back to this battle with Stassi, and here goes Dyson on the outside to turn 1. Dyson should be able to get this to stick. He'll be pretty late on the brakes. He's generally very good on the brakes, Dyson, but this will put him inside now the top 9 as Simon Joel Smith just drops back a position. So Dyson now up into 9th. That's a 32 position gain in this second race. Incredible. He's not too far off the back of Willits now, and also Schreier. So Michael Schreier, who's running in 7th place, as we had an off track for a second there. I think that was Dyson just running wide. He goes to dive from Stassi down the inside, looking at the inside of the corner when Dyson is right on the apex now, though, and he thinks better of it. Boyd still leads the race, 0.2 of a second, nothing in it. They're doing what they did in race 1, enjoying battling each other. Generally, when we've talked to those two after the race, they often comment on how fun it is to race each other. They put a lot of trust in each other. Obviously, that little mistake from Hobson in race 1 cost Boyd or Hobson a win. Cost them both a 1-2. But they still ended up with Boyd on the podium, Hobbo back in P4. So tight racing going on. This is Moroz now with Seeger on his tail. A bit of a gap back to Chicken Nuggets racing entry of Marty Turner. Let's go back in the order a bit and pick up your top Group B driver, Jamie Willits, as we put the listing up the top there. So Willits leading the Group B. Then I want to flick back to Group C. Jamie Walker, a little bit lonely, and generally the lower classes, they tend to not have as close battles from what I've seen anyway over the course of the rounds that we've covered. They're good little races though. They're generally not wheel to wheel as much, although we see Rodkin get alongside Walker now and possibly go for a pass, which would prove me wrong. This is for 31st and 32nd place. But what they do is they just do these little consistent runs, and when someone makes a mistake, they're ready to pounce. So at the moment it's Walker, Rodkin and Picken, your top 3. Remember, Jeremy Picken was leading this Group C at the end of race 1, and something happened. We didn't see the crash, but the indication was that he went off and hit the barrier and retired straight to the pit lane, so it must have been a big one. You can see the speed difference as well with these Group C cars, nowhere near as fast as the top class, and this is once again just an outline of what the class is. Group A, with the blue dash next to each of their names, it's the Group A Global Cup car. The Legacy 2010 Cup car, the old version, is what the red dash is, and the green Class C is the Legacy Roadster, with quite a difference in lap speed as well. The top at the moment, let's have a quick look at the top lap times, if we can get them up. So a 2-minute flat for Group A, a 2:01.2 for Group B, and a 2:06.0 for Group C. So about a 5 to 6 second difference between the Group A, B and then the Group C cars, hence why they do fall back a fair way. But It is it's such a cool way of doing things. Very, very well done. This series has Hobson now 0.3 of a second, 2 to go after this one. I'm enjoying the fact that Losh is engaged with this battle at the front. Wayne Losh here for WBT Racing. He's sitting right behind these two and probably thinking, right, I saw what happened in race 1. Remember, he finished P5 in race 1, so he got a great look at the little error that was made by Hobson into the back of Boyd. And all of a sudden, the position he's in became the winning position. So Wayne Losh will be enjoying every second of this. Hobson leading the race, but Jack Boyd looking very racy now on his tail. So he closes right up under brakes. Hobson still leading with 2 to go. Boyd just got up on the curb there. That cost him a little bit of time. He's sliding the back end of that car as well. They've dropped Seeger, who's moved up into 4th. Then you got Moroz and Turner. Dyson up into 7th now. 34 spots he's made up ahead of Schreier. So he got past Michael Schreier pretty quickly. And then Jamie Willits, who's leading the Group B. What a great drive. 9th outright for a Group or a Class B competitor. And holding out Glenn Boyd at the moment as well, who's ahead of Stassi and Simon Joel Smith. Nick Wood sits in 13th with McMahon, Norman, Warness and Keith Logan back in 17th place, drifting his way up the hill in that very colourful Australian car. He's got the... it's fantastic. So he's done a bit of work there. Not sure if Keith painted that himself, but it looks fantastic. Dickon Siders on there as well. He's driving really, really well. We'll check in as well with Graham Ellis, 29th. And he currently sits just behind Dylan Gray, who's dropped 4 spots tonight. And they've got Anthony Connors behind, who's trying to make up those positions that he lost. He's up 14 spots in this, our second of 3 races tonight. So good job. Got to keep his focus on. Like I said, with a progressive grid, it's all just about getting yourself up as high as you can in the next race. If you've had a shocker in race 1, you still try and get yourselves as high as you can. The final race tonight, 14 laps with a pit stop, so anything can still happen. Still plenty of points on offer. And there will be a great final round when we get to award the winner of each class as well at the end of this season, season 4, as we get the white flag 1 to go. Now, this is where Boyd on the first race got past Hobson to lead the final lap. This time Hobbo goes defensive, so he knew he was coming, and this time he says, no, not this time, you're going to have to try to go the long way around. Hobbo will have the inside run to turn 1. They go wheel to wheel through there. Boyd keeps the boot into it. Nice job. And here comes Wayne Losh. He's engaged here for P3. He wants a part of this. He wants a win tonight. He can sense it. And Jack Boyd is going to have his absolute hands full come the end of this race, the end of this lap, in fact. Here goes Losh having a look to the inside of Hobbo. Hobbo moves across now with a dive pass on Boyd. He has to back out, but he's still got the inside run there. Let's jump on board with Hobbo. And where's Losh? He's got to be really careful that Losh doesn't go down the inside just like that. He left the door open, and Losh does end up just saying, you're going to leave it open. I'm going to come inside. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. And now he's 6 back into P3. But this is great racing towards the end of this second race tonight. It's very much like what we saw in the first one, but it's going to come down to the wire. This time can Hobbo make the pass and not make the mistake like we saw in race 1. Here he goes. He's all over the back of Boyd. He needs a good run now down into the braking zone. So this is where it all went wrong in race 1. He won't make that mistake twice, Hobbo. He'll look to the inside, brake as late as he can. He's not close enough. So, Boyd was a little bit deep. Hobbo gets a much better run through the left-hander. Now we've got one more chance. He just needs to stay close to get himself a beautiful exit through the final corner onto the pit straight, and he might just steal the win. So he's got to not get too close through this second to last corner. He needs to leave probably a car length coming out of the final corner with good momentum to get himself drive onto the pit straight. He goes as wide as he can onto the final corner now. Onto the pit straight we go. Hobbo with a run to the line. Can he get this done? There is nothing in it, and Boyd gets it by 1/10 of a second. The short run to the line means that it's 1/10 of a second. Boyd, Hobson and Losh, your top three. Willits does get crowned the top Group B driver. Great drive by him again tonight. He'll beat Nick Warnes to second in that class, and Henry Fenson move himself up into P3 for Class B. Great drive by Fenson. There he is, just coming through the final corner now, really slamming into that ripple strip. Walker, let's go back to the battle for Group C because they're still out on the track. It's Jamie Walker leading by 1.7 seconds over Bard Rodkin, who's going to get P2 with a couple of corners to go. So good racing, good effort. As they come through the final couple of corners now, it will be the Class C driver, Jamie Walker, who's going to take the win. Fantastic job. So Boyd wins Group A, Willits wins Group B, and Walker takes the checker flag to win Group C. Great effort. We'll have a quick look now. Someone just hit the fence. We'll have a quick look at the results shortly, then we'll come back for the final feature race tonight. 14 laps, 1 pit stop required. It's going to be a big one. As soon as we get the results from iRacing, we'll show them up on the screen. Back with you shortly. Your overall points there for race 2, it was a Jack Boyd win, just on a 1/10 of a second from Brenton Hobson and Wayne Losh. Darren Seeger got 4th ahead of Turner, Dyson and Moroz. In 7th, then was Schreier, your top 8. Glenn Boyd running at the top 10. Group B drivers, if we look at that class alone, it was a great win for Jamie Willits with Nick Warnes and Henry Fenson running at your top 3. Greg Holmes did a great job for 4th there in Group B as well, ahead of Ridley, Dutch, Canto, Foster, White Carriage and Google, your top 10. The Group C for race number 2 tonight went this way. It went to Walker ahead of Rodkin and Picken. Your top 3, Jeremy Picken, just getting a little bit of a return for the bad luck that he had in the first race tonight where he ended up backwards in the fence. So there's your results. There's your overall results. We'll just go right through them to the bottom and then we'll get set shortly. We've just got a short warm-up session now before we go to the 14-lap feature race. If you're watching along, say g'day. Who are you here to see? It'd be nice to know who's watching tonight as we see those final results right down to the bottom and placings as well. It was an incredible turnout again tonight. Over 45 drivers for this Roadster Rumble. If you want to get involved and become a Mazda legend, all you got to do is go and sign up. Hey Keith, how are you, man? Good racing tonight. I hope you enjoyed yourself out there. And you should come in for a quick chat, mate. We've got, 2 minutes? Can you get yourself over into the green room in time? Have a quick chat with me whilst we just wait for this final race to kick off tonight. A couple of cars out on the circuit, just doing a few laps, a few sighting laps to try and get themselves ready. There's Jamie Willits and Marty Turner's out there as well. He's had one good finish tonight. We would love another one. Hobbo's back out on the track too. Darren Linus. Rolling stars tonight. We haven't seen any drivers have to practice a standing start because they've all been rolling stars. It's good. I think it's a better run for these cars to just get away quite evenly. And it gives you a real good dice into turn 1. That drive we're looking at right now on your screen, Darren Linus from Frog Elite Racing. WBT on the side of that car as well. There's the Synergy Sim racing car of Brenton Hobson. Like I said, I'm going to see how quickly I can find Hobbo's stream here. So Hobbo88, I reckon if you go across there, let's see if he's on Twitch right now. So this is how quick you can do it, folks. You head across to Twitch, it's going to play an ad, which is going to probably kill me here, so I've got to make sure it doesn't give me any sort of copyright infringement for an ad playing within a broadcast. And it's going to show you how cool this is. So Hobbo on Twitch, if you've got Twitch or you want to look it up on the internet, this ad's nearly finished hopefully. This is earning Hobbo some money, by the way, playing the ad, so we'll let it run through. Yeah, just head across to Twitch and you can find Hobbo88 and you can watch his point of view, and he does a lot of talking. There he is now, so you can just see on the screen. That's what it looks like, or a bit of a blown out version of the screen there. You can see the chat as well, and you can join his stream and watch along whilst he chats away and become a fan of Hobbo88. So that's pretty cool. He's been doing that for a lot of years, and he's a legend at it. So go and check it out, and you can watch that via Twitch, which is pretty neat. Well, we're about set to go for the feature race tonight. So once again, the details for that race: it will be 14 laps, 1 pit stop for fuel required. The pit window opens on the end of lap 2 and closes on the end of lap 12. So obviously you can't stop on lap 13 for that fuel stop. You've got to make sure you do it beforehand. It's time to go down to the grid. We'll put on the race start theme song, I think, and go right through the full grid. What do you reckon? It's about that time of the night. Let's do it. Here we go. The feature race for the Roadster Rumble. So lining up on the grid for this final race of the Roadster Rumble, it will be pole position Jack Boyd, starting alongside Brenton Hobson. Then it's Loshen, Seeger, Turner and Dyson, your top 6, Moroz, Schreier, Willits and Glenn Boyd. Rounds out your top 10. Stassi out of 11 with McMahon out of 12th place on the grid. 13, Simon Joel Smith, Nick Wood with Norman, Warners, Coleman and Fenson down there in 18th place. Greg Holmes rounds out your 19 with Carl Ridley starting from P20. Andrew Dutch out of 21st with Canto, Foster and White Carriage down there in 24th place on the grid. 25th will be Google with Paradiso, Gray and Ellis down there in 28th with Connors. And Keith Logan, the absolute legend, starting from P30. Jamie Walker starts from 31st, Rodkin out of 32nd, Jeremy Picken 33rd with St John, Roberts and Nankara, your top 36, 37th on the grid. Ray Harrison with Andrew Pears, then it's Thorne, Linus, Eggman, Sharp, Lehman, Oliver, Clever, and Jonathan Hancock in race control, making sure everyone is well behaved and no one is naughty. Let's get set to go racing for the Roadster Rumble. Jack Boyd will lead us away like he has a couple of times already tonight. Can Brenton Hobson get one up on him in this, the feature race? 14 laps, the Porsche safety car getting set to get out of the way. And then we'll roar into action with these MX-5s, 3 classes all put together. And you're going to see 14 laps of mayhem, I reckon. They go 2 by 2 around the final corner. They're split into their groupings. Class A at the front with a couple of randoms in there as well, because Willits gets moved up the order, and we wait for the green light. You can hear the Porsche safety car in the lane behind, and wait, let's go racing, and they're off. It's a good start back in the order. They're already 3 wide as they jostle for position. You can see, I think, Turner getting a little bit of a push along to try and help him progress. The run to turn 1 is, that's got to be 5 wide. Look how chaotic it is. This is the feature race. Let's hope they're going to play it that way. This is the endurance sort of race for these MX-5s, 14 laps. Hold on to your hats as Hobson and Boyd go up the hill together. We look back then to the Group B competitors. Here comes Fenson. He's leading that little group of cars, but he's got a couple of his Group B competitors attached to the Group A drivers. And there's Pears and Walker leading the C class up the hill for the first time. And I'm seeing Stassi just drop back a position. So did, I think, Joel Smith. Although he made up 2, Ashley Norman made up 6 spots at the start. Great drive by Norman to get himself amongst it here with Schreier. And now Glenn Boyd, the next car up the road. There's a spinner there, and that's Michael Schreier, who's gone backwards into the gravel, sadly, on this opening lap of the race. So he's going to have to try and recover. He'll come out just ahead of, I think, Greg Holmes, who's just about to go through. So Holmes avoids the action there and goes around the outside of Schreier. And Hobbo leads at the front. Let's get some timing up on the screen for you. There it is, 0.2 of a second. Hobson to Boyd, Losh, Dyson, Turner, Seeger, Boyd, Norman Willits, and Simon Joel Smith running at your top 10. This big run down into what is normally basically a hairpin in the F1 cars. Losh with a big dive. Dyson, well, he's come from the back in race 2 to now get himself challenging for a podium position in the feature race. So that, to me, is probably the driver of the night. Andrew Dyson in the Simworx Racing entry is flying along. There was either contact or a blown motor, that sounded like. Trying to see if it was someone going around. Ashley Norman's okay, or going slowly. Offline, Norman into the second to last corner. I think just going slowly now, picking the pace up again as Simon Joel Smith engaged in a battle down the pit straight to end what is lap 1 of 14. Will any drivers decide to pit early? I'm not sure how much fuel is required, but there is one compulsory pit stop in this race tonight, this feature race. And you've got to take it at some time before lap 12, the end of lap 12. As Hobson now comes through in the lead, 0.2 of a second at the end of lap 1. Good job. Hancock in race control, making sure everyone's doing the right thing. Already, I think, dishing out a few little words of warning and penalties in the background. He does a great job. We watch Dyson now, P3. Coleman, one of the drivers who's on the talk back now. What's happened to Keith Logan here? He's not in this final race. So we'll head over to the chat and see if we can work out why. Keith, what's happened? Let's hope he's okay. Henry Fenson said timing issue. Willits and Warners are in Group A cars. There you go. So I might have to adjust that. Around. So who is it? Fenson was the other one. Let's quickly just change that on the live screen for all our people watching. And they are right up there with the Group A competitors, so that would make a little bit of sense, wouldn't it? So we'll just keep an eye on what's going on at the moment. So Willits in P10. Let's head across to him at the moment. So he's just ahead of Stassi in the Willits racing car. And here's the big dive. Stassi down the inside. Oh, had to get right out of that at the last possible moment. That could have been a huge incident. So nice recovery in the end to not end up in a busted mess in the fence. So there you go. Willits is now being fixed as I do it on the fly. Let's go to Henry Fenson because he's also Class A apparently. 18th place for this driver, chasing down Schreier in the K&H racing machine ahead of Kyle Ridley. And because I don't have the names, I've just got to be careful I don't blank out the wrong one here. The K&H racing drivers, we've got 2 of them on there, so let's just try this one first of all. And hope for the best. There you go, it worked. Oh, Warners is a Class A as well, is it? There we go. So maybe I've just got it all wrong here. We'll talk to Greg after it. We'll get it all right eventually. But, gee whiz, this is good racing in the mid-pack. And ahead of them, we've got Lehman, Moroz, and McMahon also battling. Good braking. So, and they're almost into the back of Schreier. Got it pulled up and then hit the curb up on 2 wheels. Lucky to get away with that. Let's go back to Hobbo, who's leading the race. 0.3 of a second out in front. Henry Fenson says, humble brag. I've won the first 2 sprints. I'll be the pole sitter for Group B. So there you go. So hang on, Fenson is a Group B. After I just made him a Group A. Let me go and change that back. Oh my gosh. Talk about trying to do it on the fly when you're a one-man show. Let's try and fix this up quickly. Pasted the wrong thing in the wrong place. We'll get that fixed up for next week. That's probably my issue from not copying across correctly from all Greg's hard work. He does give me a stack of stuff that is very professionally done. So hopefully that's fixed it all up now, and Fenson is shown as a Group B. Now Warners is meant to be Group A, is that right, Henry? So we'll quickly flick him over to the Warners racing car, and then we should be on top of things as far as class goes, and that would make a lot of sense. So it's busy out there. We don't have Max of 8 tonight. I don't know what Max is doing. If he's watching, hello Max, get back out there, mate. I miss you. sure Warners was a Group B, but I'm going to make a Group A and just see what's said later on. I'll quickly check a few emails here from Greg just to confirm that. But yeah, this is good to watch as we just have a quick look now back at the Group B. It's Fenson now battling with Nick Warners, just gets ahead of him. Ridley, Canto, Dutch and Holmes is just behind this little battle as well on lap 4. So Nick Warners, who's well, definitely a Group B according to what Greg sent me. So you know what, I'm going to go with that. I think that should be the word. And he's driving well too, Nick. Let's jump on board with him. He's having a run here on Fenson. These two have been at it for a couple of laps now. I think I probably should go with the man who runs the series, not someone who's jumping on the chat and tell me what group they're in. So definitely Group B is what I was told for the Warners Racing entry. Look at back to the top. Let's have a quick look at Hobson, who still leads. Boyd, then Dyson. You know what, I'd love to see Dyson maybe try and get up there for a win tonight. He's going to have his work cut out for him. He's got Losh and Turner in behind as well. Look how wide Turner just went. And then Damien in P6. He's now engaged to the back of Marty Turner and giving him a real push, trying to get him up onto the back of Losh. And you'll see the drivers doing that throughout this race. Ashley Norman then has fallen back about 2 seconds off the back of P7. Willits is about 3 seconds behind, engaged in a battle here with Owen Coleman. Now there's another driver that's fought their way back into this tonight. Hasn't given up all night, and I think he's been backwards in the fence a couple of times in both races. Now still finds himself in the top 10. So that is magical. Well done. Simon Joel Smith leads Sam Lehman, and then you got Lucas Stassi and Schreier as well. Sam doing a great job in the Simworx racing car as well. And was that Stassi going to the lane? It was. So here we go. First pit stop, and this is to take fuel. All the drivers will need to do this. Lucas Stassi here says, right, I'm going to do it now, which might just help me make up some places later on. So good dive. Oh, Keith's got COVID, no good for in VR. That is not good at all, man. Hope you're right. I sympathise. I know exactly what it's like now. So we see a good dive in the background there. I think between, oh wow, look how sideways Losh was. Coming up through turn 3. I love the way these MX-5s move around. They are decent to watch racing as Seeger now engages. Let's jump on board. He's got alongside, he's got the nose just alongside Marty Turner. We'll get a bit of a slipstream here off Losh as well, which will help him. He might just try and dive down the inside of the Chicken Up Racing entry. He gets up on the curb. That's a bit risky because he can get unbalanced and send it into the car beside you. You get one more shot of this down the bottom of the hill, and he should this time make it work, and he does. Excellent work. And in fact, Marty Turner relegates a position, jumps in behind, and then he'll try for a switch back at the top of the hill. This is fantastic. It is close racing between the top 6 or 7 competitors here tonight. There's Hobson leading down the back straight away. Lap 5. We're not even halfway through this feature. So it's Hobson, Boyd, Dyson, Losh, Seeger, Turner and Boyd at the moment engaging in a top 7 battle, and that's 3 seconds covering the top 7. So it's any of these drivers could still come home with a win tonight. So looking back from Hobbo's car, you can see the last lap Boyd has recovered a little bit of time on him. It was 4 milliseconds on lap 3, 55 thousandths of a second on lap 4. After the little bit of chunks of time that Hobbo took out of him on the first lap. So this is good recovery from Boyd, using the toe to his advantage. They crossed the line. That time it was only 3 thousandths of a second he took out of him on lap 5, but he's close enough to make a move this time. Will he do it, or will he happily sit there in P2? All the while he sits in P2, this is helping Dyson engage and start to make his run at the top 2. So Dyson took 900ths out on the last lap. He lost over a tenth on lap 4, but the previous 2 laps, once again, he took 3/10 out of him on lap 2 and just on half a tenth on lap 3. So getting closer and closer. More drivers in the pits now. So it's important to show the pit stops in this feature race. We've got Lehman and Warners both in the pits now to take their fuel stop And I'll keep an eye back. It was 15 seconds stationary for Stassi. Now that's an important one to note. That's how much fuel is being needed, will they predict, in this race tonight. So around 15 or so seconds stationary. A little bit faster for Lehman, who gets out in front with an undercut there. So that was a 12.7 second stationary stop for Sam. Nice job. And moves up now into 22nd place. Leading the classes, we've got, oh, thanks Maddie, and welcome, man. Thank you again. You missed Keith racing tonight. If you've just tuned in, he's out now though with COVID dizziness, I suspect, in the VR. I actually can't think of anything worse. So when I think back to how I felt when I had COVID, chucking some goggles on and doing VR, I reckon would be the final straw. So well done tonight, Keith. I'll give you props, man. That's a tough gig. For me, VR is tough at the worst of times, or at the easiest of times, I should say. But to do it whilst having COVID, I would be an absolute chunder machine. So Dyson, 3rd place, Losh, Seeger, Turner, then Boyd. Ashley Norman up 7 spots into 8th. Now the Chicken Up racing car. Then it's Coleman into the top 9. Once again, probably up there with Dyson as far as the biggest recovery drives of the night. These guys are in the 2-minute flats as well. Seeger and Turner both just turning out a 2-minute flat. What does Coleman do? Crosses the line and runs through with the 2:01.5. So the top driver in Group B, it's Henry Fenson. And he's P13, just ahead of Kyle Ridley, who's going to go to the pits and try for an undercut. Look at the entry there. Sideways, full commitment into the pit lane for Kyle Ridley. And now we'll have to slow it down and try and aim for his pit box to get that stop running done. The top 7 still battling here, and the gap between 1st and 7th still around that 3.1 seconds. So that's been maintained throughout the first 7 laps of this race. We're at the halfway point now. Shrey's in the pits, so's Ridley, Pickens, and who else? We'll go through shortly the pit strategy, but the top 18 are yet to stop in this race. Let's jump on board here with, I think Glenn Boyd's probably going to be no, we'll go one further up. Marty Turner. Let's just jump on board because he's stuck in behind the top 5. He's in 6th place. And we've got a slow car to the left there. Who's that? I think that's one of the lap cars. Just gets left behind. But Turner, P6. He's right on the back of Seeger now, who he's trying to get through. He took a 10th out of... Seeger was a 10th quicker on the previous lap, 6 tenths quicker on lap 5. So Marty Turner needs to just try and turn a bit of form on now at this stage of the race. He's got Glenn Boyd falling back a bit now, so it's 1.8 seconds between Turner and Boyd. He's lost touch with that top 6 as Hobson, Boyd and Dyson all into the lane now. So crucial stop for these top competitors. At lap 8, I presume their fuel was pretty tight to running half the race distance. Now, how much time will they need to spend in the pits? Maybe a little bit longer. We're 12.7th quickest stop we've had so far tonight. Let's see what Hobson can do. Seeger now leads the race from Losh, Turner and Boyd. That's Glenn Boyd in 4th place. Ashley Norman goes up into 5th. Owen Coleman now into the top 6. And then Simon Joel Smith, 7th place. Henry Fenson has not stopped either. He's still running in the top of Group B, but has a huge crunch on that car, so that isn't ideal. Here's once again a reminder of what the classes are tonight. The global Cup car is the Group A, the blue ones. Group B is the Legacy 2010 Cup car, and Group C is the Legacy Roadster. This is one of the Legacy cars we're looking at right now is Brenton Hobson. Look at the speed difference between the Global Cup car and the Legacy Cup car. He comes screaming through like Henry Fenson was standing still. So that was a good indication of the speed difference between those cars, especially in the braking zones. The Group A and the Group B, quite similar, about a second, probably an outright pace on a lap. It's about 6 seconds the difference between Group A and Group C though. So pit strategy, Jack Boyd, 10th place, and he's got quite a margin too. He took 11 seconds stationary worth of fuel, but he was... that's a really short stop compared to Hobbo, who took 19 seconds worth of fuel. I reckon Brenton Hobson maybe overfueled this car. When when you consider then Andrew Dyson has jumped both of them with a shorter stop, so a 10.4 second stop for Dyson puts him effectively in the lead of this race. And considering where he's come from in the second race tonight, back of the grid, that is incredible driving. And the Simworx MX-5 now, P9 outright, but effectively leading the race on the provision that all the drivers in front still need to stop. Ashley Norman from P5 now comes into the lane. And will Coleman come in as well? Yes, so Coleman's in. Simon Joel Smith will be in as well. I'm surprised Seeger, Losh, Turner and Boyd have all maintained track position and haven't had to pit yet. So maybe they are fueled to the end. But that is a long stop, like I said, for Hobbo, 19.2. Now that compares to a 10.4 for Dyson, an 11.3 for Boyd, and a 12.7 for Sam Lehman. So definitely something has gone amiss in the stop there. Wonder if he had his tyres or something checked and it's just done a little bit of extra work, and that's cost him the extra time. Dyson now closing in on the back of Boyd. Seeger's still leading the race. Let's give him some airtime. Has to stop. The Palmer's Australia racing car will still need to come into the lane, but the 747 is out in front. Let's celebrate that. You can tick off a box that you've led the lap, or led a lap here at Catalunya in the Roadster Rumble. Top split, or the top class. And Damien doing a beautiful job here for Palmer's Australia Racing. He's got Losh on his tail. WBT Racing entry, one of the sponsors as well for this series. The sponsors up in the top right, make sure you give them some thanks because they do make this happen with Greg Holmes, who puts all that work in the background, and the admin team. And once again, a thanks to Jonathan over in race control tonight, making sure everyone's well behaved and getting on top of things, which is great. Now, just going to watch for the pit stops here as Holmes is up into 11th place. Now, he's stopped on, or has he stopped? No, he hasn't. Sorry, I got excited there for a second. It's actually Lehman in front that has stopped. So Holmes still needs to stop. That'll drop him back down the order. White Carriage hasn't stopped either, but Stassi has, who's in 13th place. Surely the top guys are going to come in this lap. They do. So Seeger's in, Losh is in as well. Where's Turner? Stays out. So now Marty Turner's going to lead this race in the Chicken Nuggets Racing entrant. He'll go through on a 2:01.5 to lead. The gap to Dyson, 26 seconds. So there's Dyson engaged in a huge battle here with Jack Boyd on lap 10. And this is on for these two. You can just see that Boyd lost out a bit on lap 5, 6, 7 and 8. But I reckon this lap you're going to see a difference where the Boyd time down the bottom right of your screen goes green. And he crosses there with a 2 minute, what is it, 2:02.0 or 2:01.5, half a second. Jack Boyd is just taken out of Andrew Dyson on lap 9. And this is getting to the crucial phase of the race now. Well done. Once again, there was that sound. It almost sounds like a motor blowing up. It may actually be the underneath of the car from the TV cameras. There was someone slow down through the turn 1 off track there. It almost sounds like a motor dropping out of the car when that happens. Let's jump on board here with Boyd. He tucks right up underneath the back bar. Andrew Dyson, he's just holding position, isn't he? You can just tell by the body language of the car. Hobson back in 6th, and a good nearly 6 or so or 7 seconds off this battle. That is all to do with the pit stop timing, sadly. Try and find out what happened later on. If you can give us indication, or if someone's watching his Twitch as well, they can let us know. Don't forget, tomorrow night we're off to the Hungaroring for F3A. Kicks off at 8 o'clock for the silver and 9 o'clock for gold. High downforce set up for tomorrow night's race, so that should be a good one from Hungary. We're looking forward to that event. And then Wednesday night we're back with the improved production cars here on Race Stars TV. So a big night of racing with the VFS then to round out the week. And it's always good different classes of racing here on Race Stars TV. We've got pretty much a bit of everything, which is what I love. This MX-5 has really fit in well to our schedule. And your race leader, Marty Turner, now stops. Where's Dyson and Boyd? Here they are, pushing for position. This will be for the lead of this race now with Turner in the pits. Be interesting to see how far Turner drops back in behind these two with the stop. He's now just stationary in the box, so 2 seconds of fuel being taken on board from Turner. If you can get out with a short stop here, he could get close to retaining the lead. He's still stationary, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, still stationary as these cars cross down over the start-finish line. And no, that's not going to work out for Turner, is it? Where is Losh in all this? He crosses the line too. Turner's still stationary, getting going now. So Marty Turner will come out in 5th. I think Hobbo might also get him. There goes Brenton Hobson. And it's going to be line ball into the braking zone for 1. And yep, Hobbo in front by about 0.8 of a second on lap 11. Everyone has now stopped. Pit strategy tells the story. So Dyson and Boyd both stopping on lap 7. 1 and 2. Losh stopped on lap 9. P3. Seeger stopped on lap 9 as well. Runs 4th. Hobson lap 7. But with that long stop, means that Hobson now sits back in 5th place. So you can just see the stoppage time on that graphic as Boyd now retakes the lead of the race. Just look at that stoppage time. 11.3 for Boyd. 10.4 for Dyson. Losh was 11.2. 14.7 for Seeger. And then Hobson 19.2. Something's definitely gone astray in that pit stop, other than Coleman down in 15th with a 21.7. That is the longest stop we have seen tonight. So back on board with Jack Boyd here. This battle for the win. Let's go back to Kyle Ridley. This is for top of Class B as they head down the hill. Trying to get a long shot here of them. Just pick them up. There's a fair few trees here to destroy this camera view. You just get a shot through the trees there. There you go, a bit of artistic stuff going on. So Ridley and Canto and Fenson now your 3 top of Class B. And then you've got Class C. Jeremy Pickens is back into his winning ways at the moment. 29th outright, leading the class just ahead of Graham Ellis, who sits back in 30th place for No Stress Racing. Adam St. John, he's on the chase, says, that's me done, fellas. Cooked the motor. So maybe that was the bang we heard. Was that down at turn 1, Adam? We saw someone going slow off track there, and it did sound like a motor letting go, which they tend to do if you over-rev them. Look at this battle between Willett, Stassi, McMahon and Coleman, where Stassi is wobbling around coming onto the pit straight. Now he tucks in behind Jamie Willits. And the run down towards 1 here on lap 12. We're getting towards the pointy end of the race now. And people are starting to make a few desperate moves. You can see Schreier's next up the road. In behind, Stassi will take a fair bit of speed through turn 1 and 2 up the hill. Look at the back end stepping out. Mick Nankara said he did his too. So the motors are taking an absolute flogging here at Catalunya. But you got to love it, right? It's good fun. It's a good circuit in MX5. A lot of drifting potential. That's for sure. Jamie and Stassi, good battle here for 12th, 13th place. Trying to catch Schreier. Schreier's got his own little fight here for the top 10 with Simon Joel Smith. And Simon Joel Smith for the Motorsport Haulers racing car. He has up 3 positions in this race. I got to say, Sam Lehman, 34 spots in the 9th. That is a ripper effort. Sam on fire in the Simworx.com entry. Lap 12, so we've got 2 to go at the end of this one. Just picking out where Jack Boyd is now. And the gap first to second, still under half a second. Wayne Losh has dropped back though, so it looks like we're going to lose what I thought would be a great 3-way fight for the win. It's going to be a 2-way fight, and then you've got Losh and Seeger tucked together here, fighting over the final positions on the podium. So Damien Seeger for Palmer's Racing Australia, or Palmer's Australia Racing, has just been taking chunks here out of Wayne Losh. Look at that. 3/10 on the previous lap. He lost a lot on lap 10. Maybe had a big moment, but 3 laps before that, 3/10, 2/10 and 7/10. So he's definitely carrying a lot of lap speed here. If he can just get through, that'll secure himself a podium. Jack Boyd goes through to start lap 13 of 14. Oh, that was a big move there, wasn't it? That was, I think, Warner's having a little bit of a look. A couple of lap cars in there as well. Wayne Losh in 3rd place now. Look out though, because Hobbo isn't far behind this, and he's like a little, he's just sneaking his way into this battle, Hobbo. There he is. Looks to the inside of the lap car now, and then Seeger's going to the inside of Losh. He gets through, and Hobbo's going to try and catch onto this train and go with him by the looks of it. Let's go to the overhead camera. All 3 of these drivers now battling for the final position on the podium. Will it be Seeger? Will it be Losh? Will it be Hobson? Hobson's just gone to the outside, down the hill now, carrying as much speed as he can. You won't want to back out here, and he doesn't. Look at that. Hobson now up into 4th. He's eyeing off a podium, Brenton Hobson. And he would have wanted to be fighting for a win here, but maybe a podium is good enough, and good enough of a recovery too. Onto the back straightaway. He's within now 0.3 of a second. Where's Jack Boyd and all this? There's Jack going into the hairpin. Dyson in behind. Then the battle for Seeger, Hobson and Losh. About 5 seconds back up the road. So they're not going to be able to engage for a fight, these ones, these 3 drivers at the end. But we got, once again, 2 and 2. Boyd and Dyson and Seeger and Hobson. They're your 2 battles. Back in the pack, Ridley leads Class B. Ahead of Fenson by 9.5 seconds. So that looks like a pretty good class win coming the way of Kyle Ridley. And then Jeremy Pickens as well is 14.4 seconds ahead of his closest competitor in Class C. So once again, that looks like a bit of a slam dunk win there as we get the white flag. 1 to go. Jack Boyd leads. Has Dyson got anything in the tank here to have a run at Jack Boyd? Everyone's been trying all night. No one's really been successful. Although that race 1 incident where Hobson clipped the back of Boyd cost them both a 1-2 finish. Will be one I'm sure they'll talk about after the race. So up the hill we go. This is where it's important now to try and get as close as possible. Get the advantage of the toe here. I wouldn't count Andrew Dyson out for a win. He looks hungry enough. He's had to come from the back of the grid in race 2. It's progressed along well. He's up 4 spots in this final race. And now he's tucked in behind Jack Boyd, who really is probably across this season, in this series, has looked the most consistent and the hardest to beat. But Jack Boyd might just find himself with a new amount of pressure. Look at the sideways moment there from Dyson. That may have been the final straw. I reckon Dyson's just thrown it away with that big sideways moment as they come onto the back straight. It's going to be 4/10, and it could have been a lot closer, but he lit up the back tyres as he slid his way through the corner. And now it gets down to 3/10 into the braking zone. This is where it's important. Dyson may just think about a look. He doesn't. With the short run to the line, you've really got to get the pass done before the final corner. And Dyson's closed. I'm not sure he's close enough. It's down to 3/10 still as they go through 3 corners to go. He keeps a nice tight hug on the apex there. Through the second to last corner now, they've got a lap car up the road. That shouldn't play into their hands. It should be a fair fight here between Boyd and Dyson. And I reckon Boyd, unless he makes a mistake through the final corner, he's got this run and done. And to the line he goes with the win tonight. Jack Boyd takes out the round win ahead of Dyson, and Brenton Hobson will edge out Seeger to take P3. What a great drive in the background. Look how busy it is between Norman, Losh, Turner and Boyd. It is Ashley Norman that sneaks through into P5. His teammate Marty Turner gets 6th ahead of Losh, Boyd and Lehman up 34 spots into 9th. Owen Coleman will come home to finish in the top 10. Good drive. We look back further to our top Class B competitor, Kyle Ridley, 16th place. Will come around and take the checker flag because the gap is 7.4 seconds back to Fenson. So that's been a great drive in Class B for Kyle Ridley. And then your Class C competitor, Jeremy Pickens, looks pretty unbeatable in that one as well. So we'll wrap this up. We'll get all the drivers in for a chat shortly, and hopefully we'll get to have a chat to our top 3 and then our class winners as well here from Catalunya, and we'll see what they have to say for themselves. Some good racing as Ridley comes through to take his checker flag to take out Class B. And then of course we'll flick across to our Class C competitor, who's raced very well tonight. Other than that little incident in race 1, Jeremy Pickens up 4 spots in 29th outright. The WBT PBR racing entry will take a win in Group C. Congratulations. Race results will be made available to us shortly from iRacing as the final drivers just make their way across the start-finish line. Hope you enjoyed that tonight. There's some decent racing out there, some good overtakes as well. But at the end of the day, one man was too quick. Jack Boyd is taking another victory. A attempted burnout there has gone the wrong way. Well, let's see if we can get the top 3 in for a chat as we get a big crash there after the finish. So let's grab him in. Jack Boy, congratulations, man, on what was a great win tonight. You had some great fights throughout the evening with Hobbo, and then Andrew Dyson was keeping you honest in the final race there as well.
Yeah, for sure, thank you. Yeah, it was a bit different to have Andrew up there. I don't think he's raced the last couple of rounds, so yeah, it was a really good race with him. I'm not sure what happened to Hobbo in the last one, had something happen in the pit stop, but yeah, good racing all in all tonight, and yeah, good fun.
And Andrew, mate, great recovery. Let's talk about race 2, because you had to come from the back of the field basically to get yourself in a position to actually fight for a podium in the final race, so that was good in itself.
Yeah, that was a bit of fun, but I can't take all the credit. There was a few unfortunate incidents for a few blokes, which I was able to take advantage of. So, but still, it was, yeah, like I said, a lot of fun. Awesome,
mate. And then, Brenton, tell us about the pit stop, mate, because you took 19.2 seconds worth of fuel or something else. What were you doing, taking a drink or something? You're about 9 seconds longer than everyone else.
I'd be much happier if it was my own stupidity that caused it, to be honest. I don't know what happened. I stopped fueling and the car didn't go, and then it took me, 8 seconds or something to get the fuel to stop. And yeah, it was a 8 second longer pit stop than it needed to be. I don't know, we should have done another 5 or 6 laps. I would have made it to the end. And it's a shame because, we're quick enough to run there with those guys at the front, and I was looking forward to it. But anyway, never mind.
Well, the shame is when you lose 8 seconds in the pit lane, but you lose the race by 6.9.
Yeah, the red mist descended a little bit when I come out, so she was just let her rip after that for a few laps and go as hard as I could. And then, of course, I had a bit of draft and that with a few guys to help me bridge that gap too. It's different when you're sort of running, just racing a guy at the front. You got no pressure from anyone else behind. You just can sort of just do your own thing. But when you're trying to catch people, you're pushing hard, and that's where that time comes from. They were certainly capable of going just as quick at the front.
Mate, it was great to watch your race tonight. Jack, once again, you're super quick, mate, in this series. That was a great fight. Unfortunate battle in race 1, of course, with, I think, Hobbo, you just got yourself up on the AstroTurf there, wasn't it? And a bit of contact cost you both a 1-2.
Yeah, I was filthy at myself for that. I feel bad for Jack because, yeah, just sort of, I hit the brakes and it squirmed under brakes sort of off the edge of the ripple strip, and it unsettled the car, and I just was off after that. So I feel bad for Jack on that. He had a flawless night if it weren't for that.
That's right, mate. You'll get a check in the mail, though, from the Chicken Racing boys, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that.
Very good. Right, let's do the thank yous before we move on to our Class B and Class C competitors. Start with you, Jack. Who would you like to thank for the win tonight, mate?
Just yourself and Greg and everyone behind the scenes. It was another awesome night of racing. That's why we all do it. It's nice to step away from some of the serious stuff and come and have a bit of fun. So yeah, thanks to all you guys behind the scenes.
Well done, Jack. Good racing. Andrew Dyson, good to have you here, man, and well done for P2 in the feature. Who would you like to thank?
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks, man. I'll just thank all the guys that get behind the series, like Simworx and KP Tech and all those other cool people that help all the folks behind the scenes get it done. I really appreciate it, and look forward to this one every Monday. It is a bit of fun, cruise around and have a bit of a laugh in the Discord with some lads, and yeah, it's good.
Excellent. And then finally, Brenton, we did show the viewers tonight, not many viewers, but we showed them how to go across and watch your Twitch stream as well, man, in the break there. So very cool. And just tell us who do you like to thank?
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks to you for that, and for covering the series and doing a great job with the broadcast as always, and to Greg and everyone involved with running it, like the others have said, and to SSR, the guys at the team, to Michael for coming and having a run tonight, and yeah, everyone involved. It's good.
Excellent. That's your top 3 in Class A. So Jack Boyd, the winner tonight, Andrew Dyson P2, and Brenton Hobson P3. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Let's flick across to Group B now. Kyle, really well done, man. P1 in class for the feature race tonight, up 4 spots, 16th outright. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. It was an interesting race tonight. The first 2 sprint races were amazing. They were really fun. I want to give thanks to Henry, Greg, and Andrew for great racing. It was actually one of the best of the season. And yeah, the third race, I just got the undercut, put on some fresh tyres, and away she went. Pretty happy with the 1 win today.
Yeah, that's it. And, you also are ahead of a couple of Class A drivers as well, which has always got to feel satisfying.
Yeah, there was one Group A car that was a bit troubling, in between the battle for the lead, but once he was flashed out, it was good.
Fantastic, mate. Who would you like to thank as the winner for the feature racing in Group B tonight?
I just want to obviously thank Greg, yourself, the guys on the track. It's really a lot of fun today, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Kyle. Well done, man. Our winner for Group B tonight, Kyle Ridley. Thanks, man. Right, we'll go across now. We don't have a Group C winner in the chat, but there's the Group C standings, and it was Jeremy Pickens who got the win. So congratulations, Jeremy, Andrew Pears, and Ray Harrison, your top 3 in that class. That's all we've got time for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Always fun with the MX-5s and the Roadster Rumble, as always. But how good was Jack Boyd tonight, taking out the win ahead of Andrew Dyson and Brenton Hobson in the feature. Good racing all around. We'll be back with these guys for round 6 next Monday night. Until then, take care. See you tomorrow night for F3A. That'll kick off tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Sydney time. And we've got the 2 servers, of course, with the silver and then the gold, which will be a ripper tomorrow night. So look forward to that from Hungary. And until then, I'm Luke. This is Race Stars TV. Catch you later. Good night.